Hey guys, this is Mike from Ramblin' Home and coming to you from our home base on the farm. Thought I would do a quick video and talk a little bit about our water systems. Water is one of the most important things when you're RVing. Our RV is a 2003 Holiday Rambler. It does have onboard water system, has a 40-gallon black tank, 60-gallon gray tank, and a 100-gallon freshwater tank. The previous owners did install a couple of things after they purchased it, and then since we purchased it, I've done quite a few modifications to our water system just to simplify things and kind of bring it up to speed with some of the newer systems. Okay, so first thing is let's point out what the water connection looks like. So ours is going to be different than most rigs that you see because it's had some modifications done. So the original water connection is right here. This is where you would just connect a freshwater hose from your water source to this connection right here. Now the yellow hose that you see is part of the modifications that were done before we purchased the RV by the previous owner. And the reason for that is he actually installed two handy things. The first one is a water filter. We'll get to that in a minute. Second one is this handy shutoff valve. So this allows me to be able to shut off the water between the actual water source and the RV. It also allows a main shutoff if for some reason there is a pressure issue or anything may happen between the actual water spigot and the RV. I've got to shut off before it gets to any of the rest of the systems. Let's talk real quick about hoses. You definitely want to have freshwater hose that is dedicated only for fresh water. Don't want to use a standard garden hose. They do make freshwater hoses that are just for that purpose. This one is made by Camco. You can pick this up at Walmart or your general RV supply store. You definitely also want to have another length of this. You never know how far from your water source you're going to be. I keep a 50-foot and a 25-foot. My 50-foot is actually hooked up right now. And then you want another type of regular garden hose, or basically any hose will do for this, because most of the time you're going to have a freshwater spigot in case you want to wash your RV, fill up any other water containers, anything like that. Something else that's extremely important between your water source and your RV is a pressure regulator. Now I have two types. This is a standard pressure regulator. These are probably between $10 and $15 depending on where you pick it up. It is not adjustable. They're generally preset. Let's see, this one is 40 to 50 PSI. Anywhere between 40 and 50 PSI, it will not let it go above that. Now you cannot create water pressure, so if it's below 40, it's not going to give you more pressure, but it will keep any higher pressure from going into and damaging your plumbing. This one, quite a bit more expensive. I believe this was about $35, but this one is adjustable. Turn the knob above, it goes in line. Normal hose would go in here, next hose comes out and would connect there. If it gets clogged, it will cause you to have lower pressure than normal, and we've had quite a few clogged. These cheap ones here, I've probably been through 2 or 3 of these in a year and a half. Now let's talk about water filtration. There's all kinds of different filters. You've seen the blue filters that you can buy at Walmart. They're about this long. They normally go in line off of your water source before you get to your hose. They're not very expensive. They're small, compact, great. On top of that, another inline filter is actually a water softener. Those are quite a bit more expensive, but you can buy those. So you can look into those. We don't have one, haven't really needed one yet. This particular filter, this is a single stage. It's got the filter in here. It does have the clear canister, so you can see when the filter needs to be replaced. I usually do it about every 3 to 4 months, depending on how much water we're actually using. The multi-stage filter that you can buy is going to give you more filtration, cleaner water in the long run. Again, we haven't found it necessary. It's been fine for showering, fine for cooking. We do have the Brita for drinking water if we need it. Okay, a couple other quick things just to finish out this side of the water bay. This is actually what came on the RV. It's an outdoor shower. Works great, actually has hot and cold water. It's got great pressure. We use it for hosing off the dogs, possibly cleaning dishes if we need to. It's great to have. Behind here, there's a winterized connection. If you did want to winterize your RV, we live in our RV full time. Not going to get into winterizing right now. We've never done it and never will because we're constantly using our water. One thing I will say about winterizing is we have spent a winter in our RV so far. I wrapped our freshwater hose in pool noodles. You can order pool noodles online. I ordered black ones. And if you just basically take an X-Acto knife and slice them all the way lengthwise, they'll fit over your hose. And I ran them all the way length. I think I ordered 2 packs of them, 5 to a pack, and I had a couple of left over. It cost me about $30. And it did keep my hose insulated. The other thing is we have a spigot that comes up out of the ground, so I was able to put a bucket over the top. Last few things here is you do have your low point drain system. This is for hot water coming from the hot water heater. This is for cold water coming from the freshwater tank. And then behind it is your water pump. Now the water pump is necessary when you're not connected to city water to be able to pull water from your freshwater tank and supply all your fixtures inside. Okay, the right side of our water bay continues on with a few more connections. Also is where our black and gray tank dump is located. So we'll just start at the top. First 2 things here are switches for the lighting system inside of here and a water pump switch in case you need to turn your water pump on and off from outside of the rig. Next is your freshwater fill lever. Now this lever actually switches between city water coming into the RV as if it were just like your home, or if you switch it over, you can actually fill up your freshwater tank using the same connection if you need to do that for boondocking. Next is your freshwater input. Now ours is a little different because ours is routed through the water filter and the shutoff valve on the other side that we showed you. And then I did install a handy flow meter before the actual connection. That way I know exactly how much water is going through the main city water connection. Next connection we have is our black tank flush. This black tank flush is very, very handy whenever you're dumping your black tank. It's always good to wash it out, get all the gunk and nastiness out of there. I try to do it every time I dump my black tank. On the end of this connection, the first thing I have is a backflow preventer. This backflow preventer keeps any water from coming back out of my black water flush and possibly getting into the freshwater system. I just have another elbow on the end of this just to make it easier. And I did put a water flow meter on this one so I know exactly how much water I'm putting into my black tank when I'm flushing it out. Now this is my freshwater output. It's basically like a normal spigot you would find on the outside of your house, but it does directly connect to the freshwater tank. So everything coming out of here comes from either our freshwater tank or flowing through the city water system and right back out through here. I have a shutoff valve here. I also have a shutoff valve here. The other thing that we have here is a manual fill for the freshwater tank. If for some reason I don't have a hose connection and I need to just use a bucket or some sort of a pitcher or something to fill water just to get me through, that's what this is for here. The next things I want to talk about are the gray and black tank drain system. Obviously, you have to drain these tanks out. You never want to carry around gray and black water any longer than you have to. So it's very important. It's not a fun job.
See? No words.
First order of business, handy, heavy-duty, waterproof gloves. These will save your life. Maybe not save your life, but they'll definitely save your day. This is a sewer drain hose. Now, on the end of the sewer drain hose is what's called an elbow and a rubber donut. So the rubber donut is to be used for any type of sewage system that does not have a threaded connection. There's 3 different size threads on the end of this elbow. If you do have that, I suggest using it. It's a much tighter connection. If you don't have that, most places will require you to have this rubber donut. It connects into the drain hole for your sewer drain, and then the pipe leads all the nastiness to that. They usually come in 10 or 20 foot lengths. I would definitely keep a few. You never know how far from your sewer connection you're going to be.
Don't worry, I'll get another hose.
So here is our drain system for our tanks. We have left side is your gray water lever, right side is your black water lever. Right now we are hooked up to sewer and we have city water, so I leave the gray tank open most of the time. That way most of the water just flows straight through. I do not leave the black tank open even when I'm connected to sewer, because the whole point of leaving water in your black tank is to break down the solids. If you don't have water in your black tank and you keep it open, not everything's going to flow through, and they will basically create what's called a poop pyramid.
Oh, dude, that is nasty.
I usually drain black water first and then gray water afterwards to wash through, because the gray water is a little bit cleaner. So I will let the gray water follow the black water and hopefully clean most of the nastiness out of my hose. Most of your RVs are going to have this type of connection, and then we have a hole in the bottom of our water bay that allows the hose to run through and connect to the sewer. Now, the type of hoses you're normally going to be using are flexible hoses. You also can use a rigid PVC pipe, which is what we've actually used on our home base, because our sewer is about 25 feet away from the rig. So I ran 4-inch PVC pipe along the side over to the sewer. It is a semi-permanent connection, and then left one end of it open, and that way I can have my flexible hose that comes out of the RV and normally would go to your sewer drain system, goes directly into this PVC pipe and sends the waste to where it needs to go. Okay, the last couple of things I want to talk about are ways to dispose of your water if you're not connected to a sewer. First one is called a macerator. Macerator basically mixes water into, similar to a garbage disposal, which basically chops up all the solids, mixes them with liquids, and turns it into literal black water with no solids in it, and then it's easier to dispose of. The next thing is a wastewater tote. Most of those can be purchased at your camping store. You can also get some of them ordered through Walmart or Amazon. They are quite expensive depending on what size. They range anywhere from 10 to 15 gallons up to, I think, 35 and 40 gallons are the largest. 35 and 40 gallon runs a couple $100s, but they're very, very handy, because once you empty your tank into that particular tote, and then you can take that, attach it to your golf cart, attach it to the back of your vehicle, and drive it to the dump station. So it's kind of your own version of a honey wagon, but they're very handy to have, especially if you're long-term somewhere where you don't have an actual sewer connection. I think that pretty much covers it for water systems for today. Just wanted to say thanks for watching and remind you guys to leave a comment below. Click the bell to receive notifications for when we put out new material. Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next time. My knees are killing me.